Okay, so imagine you go to the doctor and they have this AI assistant.
Yeah.
And like it can design a cure just for you for whatever you're dealing with in just a couple days.
Wow.
Like that's the kind of future we're going to be like digging into today.
Yeah.
We're talking about going from, AGI, artificial general intelligence,
Right.
to artificial superintelligence, ASI.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like AGI is AI that's basically as smart as we are.
Right.
And ASI is like way beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the next level.
Yeah. So we're going to unpack what all that means. Look at all the latest breakthroughs that are suggesting that AGI might be closer than we think.
Right.
Hear from some experts what they have to say about it all.
Yeah.
And then get into this really cool example about how ASI could like completely change healthcare.
Absolutely.
But, we can't just ignore the possible downsides. So we're going to look at those too and what those risks could mean for all of us.
Definitely need to consider that.
Yeah. So let's jump in.
Okay. So I think we really need to start by defining, what exactly we're talking about here.
Okay.
AGI and ASI are related, but they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
AGI is when an AI can do any intellectual task that a human can.
Okay.
So that's problem solving, learning, adapting to new situations, all of that.
Okay.
ASI, on the other hand, that goes beyond human capabilities.
Wow.
Across the board, it's not just about doing the same things we do, but like doing them better in ways we can't even imagine.
So like when we talk about going from AGI to ASI, are we talking about like this sudden jump or is it more like a gradual thing?
That's a great question, and that's something experts are really debating.
Okay.
ASI is like the ultimate goal, but it's probably not going to be this like sudden shift.
Okay.
It's probably going to be a bunch of advances in AGI that like slowly push us to that super intelligence level.
So like climbing a mountain, not just leaping to the top.
Exactly. And the exciting thing is that we're already seeing some pretty big steps happening.
That's true. Things are moving so fast.
Yeah.
I was reading about OpenAI's O3 model,
Yeah.
which got a score of like 87.5% on the ARC AGI benchmark.
Right.
Can you explain for those listening who don't know about that, what makes that score so important?
Sure. So the ARC AGI benchmark, it's a test that's made to see how well AI can reason and solve problems like humans do.
Okay.
It's not just about like processing data or following instructions. It's about getting complex ideas, making conclusions, coming up with creative solutions.
Yes.
So a score of 87.5%, that's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It suggests that AI is getting really close to being able to handle these intellectual tasks that we used to think only humans could do.
That's really impressive. And I'm sure it's got people talking. Like, I
Yeah.
know there are these big names in AI, like Sam Altman from OpenAI and Demis Hassabis from DeepMind.
Right.
What are they saying about this whole AGI to ASI thing?
Well, Sam Altman has been pretty vocal about his belief that AGI could be a reality, like, within the next few years. He's talked about AI being part of the workforce, boosting productivity, and maybe even freeing us from having to do those, like, boring, everyday jobs.
Right.
It's a pretty optimistic view of the future where AI is helping us improve our lives.
That sounds incredibly optimistic. But I imagine there are like some things to be cautious about as well.
Of course, Altman himself knows there are still big questions we need to figure out.
Right.
Like, how do we even define AGI in a concrete way? How do we make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly? What happens to jobs when AI can do so many other things people do now?
Yeah.
These are all valid things to think about that need answers.
Definitely. And what about Demis Hassabis? Where does he stand on all this?
Well, Hassabis, he's a bit more cautious.
Okay.
He really emphasizes that AI development is like a marathon, not a sprint.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, he believes the most powerful and helpful AI will come from humans and machines working closely together,
Okay.
each using their own strengths.
So it's not about AI replacing us, but finding ways for AI to help us do things even better.
Exactly. Hassabis is all about embracing AI, not being afraid of it,
Right.
but doing it in a way that's ethical and responsible.
Okay.
He sees it as this tool that can help us solve some of the world's biggest problems, but it's a tool that needs to be used carefully.
It's interesting to hear these different perspectives from, the leaders in AI.
Yeah.
Let's try to make this a little more real for our listeners.
Okay.
Let's say we do get to ASI. What might that look like in a specific field like healthcare?
Okay, so imagine you go to the doctor
Okay.
and they have this ASI system that can look at your whole genome, your lifestyle, your medical history.
Wow.
And instantly, it comes up with a treatment plan just for you based on your biology.
That sounds like something from a movie, but I can see how powerful that would be.
And it goes further. Think about early cancer detection years before we can even catch it. Now, imagine getting a diagnosis and a treatment plan all at once based on the most advanced medical knowledge we have. We could see cures for things like Alzheimer's medicine made just for your genes, and vaccines develop so much faster than now.
That's hard to even imagine all the possibilities.
Yeah.
It sounds like ASI could completely change how we think about healthcare.
And that's just one example. The possibilities for ASI are huge, and a lot of them are really exciting, but like we've talked about, there's another side to this.
Yeah, we really need to talk about the potential downsides.
You're totally right. It's like any powerful tool, there's always that chance of misuse or, unintended consequences.
Right.
And with something like ASI that could change everything, those risks become like even bigger. So
Yeah.
where do we even start?
Well, one of the biggest things people worry about is losing control.
Okay.
As AI gets smarter and smarter, how do we make sure it still lines up with what humans value and want?
Right.
If an ASI system decides it wants something different from us, or we can't understand it or control it anymore, that could be really bad.
That's a little scary. It reminds me of those sci-fi movies where AI turns against us. Are you saying that's not just Hollywood stuff? It's a real possibility?
Absolutely. We're talking about systems that could be way smarter than any human.
We need to be really careful about safety measures, ethics, and controls to make sure ASI stays a good thing, not something that hurts us.
So loss of control is a big one. What else are we looking at?
Another big risk is what we could call existential threats.
Okay.
This doesn't necessarily mean robots taking over, but it's about those unexpected things that could happen because ASI is so powerful.
Okay.
Even a tiny mistake by an ASI system could have huge consequences that lead to disaster.
Like that butterfly effect thing where a small change can cause huge, unpredictable changes, but with ASI, those changes could be worldwide.
Exactly. And then there's the worry about jobs going away.
Right.
We've already seen how automation can change industries and leave people without work.
Yeah.
With ASI, this could be way worse. Whole professions could vanish practically overnight. We need to be smart and think ahead about how we adapt to that, retraining people and creating economic systems where everyone benefits from AI.
It sounds like moving into this ASI world is going to take a lot of planning and thinking ahead. We need to be ready for the changes and have ways to deal with the bad stuff.
I totally agree. We can't just sit back and watch this happen. We need to be shaping the future we want.
So how do we do that? What can we start doing now to make sure ASI is developed and used the right way?
One of the most important things is to work together globally. We need experts from all different fields: tech people, policymakers, ethics people, sociologists, economists, to all come together and share what they know, their resources, and their perspectives.
Right.
We need to develop international rules and regulations for AI.
That makes sense.
Right.
This isn't just about the technology, it's about society. It's about how we want to live, how we want to work, how we want to interact with each other, and these super powerful AI systems.
Exactly. And we need to talk about this openly, and honestly, we need to get the public involved, not just the experts. We need to make AI less mysterious and make it clear that the future of AI isn't already decided. It's something we're shaping by the choices we make today.
It sounds like there's a real emphasis on planning ahead and working together.
Yeah.
We can't just react to things as they happen. We need to anticipate challenges and find solutions together.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding risks. It's about using the power of ASI for good things.
Right.
Imagine tackling things like climate change, poverty, disease, and resource scarcity with the help of super intelligent AI.
It's like we're on the edge of something completely new, an era where we have the tools to fix some of the biggest problems humans face, but we have to be smart about how we use them.
I couldn't agree more. We need to ask ourselves, what kind of future do we want to create? What we value, what are our goals, and how can we use ASI to help us achieve those things?
That's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about what we decide to do with it. What kind of world do we want to build with ASI?
Exactly, and it goes even deeper. We're starting to think about things like, what is intelligence? What is consciousness? Maybe even what's the meaning of life. Some people think ASI could lead to the technological singularity, a point where tech advances so fast we can't even predict the future anymore.
The singularity, but something you hear about in sci-fi, but are you saying it could really happen?
It's definitely a possibility we need to consider. The singularity is this idea that AI gets so much smarter than us, it causes a huge explosion of technological growth.
Wow.
Imagine progress happening way faster than we can even think about right now.
It's like trying to picture a color that doesn't exist. It's so beyond anything we know. And that makes you wonder, what does it even mean to be human if machines can do everything we can but better and faster?
If machines can think, learn, create, and solve problems better than us, what does that mean for humans? What's our purpose? What's our role in this new world? These are big questions philosophers have been thinking about forever.
Yeah.
But now with ASI, these questions are becoming really important.
It's a lot to think about, but I think it's really important that we're having these conversations. We need to be ready for the philosophical and even existential challenges that ASI might bring.
Absolutely. And it's not just about those big abstract questions either.
Okay.
There are practical things to think about too.
Right.
Like, how do we prepare our schools for an ASI world?
Right.
What skills will our kids need to be successful in this new reality?
That's a good point. We're already seeing how tech is changing jobs, and with ASI, those changes will be even bigger.
Right.
We need to make sure schools are changing too, so our kids have the skills they'll need.
And what about the economy? If ASI can do so many jobs, how do we make sure everyone benefits from that increased productivity?
Right.
How do we create a society where everyone has a place, even if work looks totally different?
These are tough problems, but we need to face them head on.
I agree.
We can't just ignore this and pretend it's not happening.
Yeah.
We need to be actively building the future we want.
I completely agree the transition to ASI is a huge challenge, unlike anything we've seen, but it's also an incredible opportunity. It's a chance to rethink our ideas about the world, about ourselves, about what's even possible.
Yeah, it really is like we're being given this amazing set of tools, this power to like reshape the world in huge ways.
Yeah.
But with that comes a huge responsibility to use it right, ethically.
That's a really good way to put it. It's not just about what ASI can do. It's about the choices we make, what we value, and the kind of future we want to create. We're not just watching this happen. We're part of it shaping ASI and the future of humanity.
And for people listening, a lot of whom are already really into AI, this becomes a personal question too.
Right.
It's not just about humanity as a whole. It's about each of us finding our place in this future. Like, what skills will matter? How will we need to change? How will we figure out our own purpose in a world where machines might be able to do almost everything we can, but even better and faster?
Those are questions everyone should be thinking about, not just AI experts.
Right.
We're all being challenged to evolve, to become more adaptable, more creative, tougher in a way. The rise of ASI might force us to really look at what makes us human, what makes us different from machines.
Yeah.
It might push us to explore things like empathy, compassion, creativity, critical thinking, those things that are uniquely human.
It's interesting to think that this technology that seems so futuristic and maybe even a little scary could actually help us understand ourselves better and what it means to be human.
There's some irony there, right? We create these super complex machines, and by doing that, we might learn more about ourselves and what we're capable of. It just shows how complex and connected this whole thing is.
And it's still happening. It's not set in stone. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make, the conversations we have, the research, the policies. It's all ongoing, always changing.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important for everyone to be part of this, to be informed, to think critically, and to be proactive. This isn't just for scientists and engineers, it's for everyone.
I know a lot of our listeners are excited about what AI can do, but I also know some are worried, even scared of what the future might hold, especially with superintelligence.
Those fears make sense. We've all seen those movies where AI goes bad and becomes dangerous, but we have to remember those are just stories. The future of AI isn't decided, it's being written right now, and we all have a part in writing it.
So how do we calm those fears?
Yeah.
How do we work together to make sure ASI is used for good?
I think being open and honest is key. We need to be upfront about the risks of ASI, but also about the amazing things it could do. We need to involve everyone in this conversation right from the start, so everyone understands what's at stake and everyone's voice is heard.
That makes sense. We need to make AI less mysterious. Take it out of science fiction and make it something we talk about openly and develop responsibly.
Exactly. And we need to start having those conversations now, the sooner the better, so we're ready for the challenges and the opportunities ahead.
So read through stuff I want to leave our listeners with this. We're at a really important point in human history. Superintelligence is on the horizon. It's a time with incredible potential, but also big challenges. It's up to all of us to be part of this, to ask the hard questions, to demand transparency, and to work together to make sure ASI is a force for good in the world. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay involved. The future's in our hands.